Alright guys, I've seen a bunch of posts out there. Oh, Sukuna won. He got Megami's body. Oh, Kenjaku's plans, they fully been fulfilled. Everything is over. Sukuna and Jujutsu Kaisen is ending. And every time I see one of these posts, the same thought goes through my head. Have y'all forgot about the GOAT? Seriously, don't let recency bias get to your head. All recency bias is, Gojo's been sealed for so long that you start to forget how much of him he was. Just because recently Sukuna and Kenjaku have been having their way because Gojo's been gone, does not take away from the himness that Gojo is. Don't forget about goodwill. Remember when they had to make the barrier specifically keep Gojo out. As soon as Gojo broke through the barrier, he used purple and tore Hanami's side off. They all were fleeing as they saw Gojo pull up. Remember at the beginning of the series when Sukuna tried to fight him and he got absolutely walloped in 10 seconds. Remember back in Hidden Inventory where Gojo became him through the fight with Toji. And do you remember in Shibuya, he had a him moment before he was sealed. Remember when he was fighting against the disaster curses and he opened domain against them? Even before he opened up domain, he beat and exercised Hanami quickly. He was ripping Jogo's arms off. Mahito tried to hit him, he couldn't do it. Choso tried to hit him, he couldn't do it. Gojo opened a domain of 0.2 seconds and stunned everybody in the area. The only reason he got sealed was because of an underhand tactic. Kenjaku had to go into the body of his best friend and catch him off guard. That is the reason that Gojo was stunned for just a moment and then Gojo got sealed. Gojo is hip on the game now. Gojo knows that Kenjaku's in his friend's body, so as soon as Gojo comes out the box, it's up for Kenjaku and it's up for Sukuna. Now look, we know Gojo's been sealed for I think it's been what, 2 years? So yeah, Sukuna has had some cool moments. You know, Sukuna had that fight with Maharaga. You know, Sukuna's been really running a rampage. He had the fight with Maharaga, and I'm about to say a bit of a spoiler, you know, in the recent chapters if you haven't caught up, so just skip forward about 20 seconds. And you know, Sukuna also beat Ryu in like 1 page. You know, Sukuna has been going crazy. You know, Sukuna also bit the angel's arm off. So you know that Sukuna has been doing his thing, but keep in mind all of this is while Gojo's been gone. And as well as Kenjaku, you know, Kenjaku also has been going crazy. Remember Kenjaku consumed Mahito, and then Kenjaku went and fought against Choso. Remember Kenjaku actually fought against the whole Jujutsu High and Choso back after he consumed Mahito, and then Arame pulled up and froze everybody. And then, you know, Kenjaku fought against Choso and Yuki in the recent chapters. So yeah, Kenjaku's been doing a bunch of crazy stuff. He also got Tengen in the recent chapters. But remember, this is all while Gojo's been gone. Remember what Kenjaku was saying while Gojo was around. Gojo is too strong. Gojo gets in the way of his plans. So yeah, Sukuna and Kenjaku have been having cool moments. You know, Sukuna's main cool moment was when he opened domain against Maharaga. And you know, also against Jogo when he had that cool panel where he hit him with fire. And then, you know, Kenjaku has had cool moments, you know, the fight with Yuki. He was able to stop a black hole. He was able to beat Choso with like 0%. But none of this means what y'all think it means. Don't forget who Gojo is. And I have to remind y'all, Gojo is him. And when Gojo comes out of that box, he won't have the mental state that we're used to seeing. And when I say this, I want you guys to remember 2 things. And I want you to remember this very importantly. We'll go over mental state number 1, the first instance where we saw Gojo go insane. Remember when Gojo came back to fight Toji for the 2nd time? You know, after Gojo had this awakening and he could understand the core of curse energy. Remember when Gojo leaned his head back and he was rambling? He was insane. That is the mental state that Gojo can go into. That is the craziness that we are looking for when he comes out of that box. Because if Gojo goes crazy, it is up for Sukuna and Kenjaku. Yeah, Sukuna and Kenjaku seem like they're him, but they've been doing this while Gojo's been gone. Kenjaku doesn't even want smoke with Gojo, okay? Sukuna, at least Sukuna wants smoke with Gojo, but you know, Kenjaku is like, he's been hiding, you know, he's been whimpering from Gojo, which is why he had to hit him with that underhand tactic in order to seal him. You know, at least Sukuna is, you know, ready to throw hands. But for Kenjaku, as soon as he sees Gojo come out of that box with this mental state number 1, the mental state that Gojo had against Toji where he leaned his head back, he was the honored one, he was going crazy, it is up for Kenjaku. And then let's look at the second instance where Gojo had this messed up sense of morality. Remember after Gojo got done fighting Toji, and Gojo looked towards Geto and said, should we just kill all these people? Geto actually convinced Gojo to not kill all of those people. You know, even though Gojo looked sane in that moment, you know, even though he did look tired, of course, his mental state was completely out of whack. He was ready to go crazy and kill all of the people in the vicinity. That is the mental state we want Gojo to be in. when he comes out of this box. You know what? There's actually a third scenario that's a little bit more minor, but you can still think about it anyways. Remember the scenario after Yuji died, quote unquote, died in the beginning of the series? Gojo, as he was looking at Yuji's body, thought that he could have just went and killed all the higher ups. That is the Gojo we want. And matter of fact, if you look back at everything in Jujutsu Kaisen, all the fights and moments, Gege gives us what we want as viewers and readers. So Gege gives us the cool moments. Gege gave us Gojo versus Sukuna. Gege gave us Yuji and Todo versus Hanami. Gege gave us Yuji and Todo versus Mahito, you know, the Kashimo and Hikari fight. So Gege always gives us what we want. Even in the recent chapters, we got Kenjaku versus Yuki and Choso. So Gege always gives us these cool moments. So if you think that Gojo's gonna come out of that box and he's gonna be in a mild state of manner, you're completely wrong. We want to see Gojo versus Sukuna when Gojo is crazy, when Gojo is mad to the maximum. And just because Gege has given us all the things in the past, I think Gege will do the same thing here. I think we will get the fight we want because Gege has always given us the fight we wanted. And also, I know that you guys think Kenjaku is some ultimate mastermind, and I do think he is. He is the greatest mind we have seen in the series. The fact that he was able to do so many incredible things, you know, even though we don't like them, you gotta admit, Kenjaku's mind is pretty incredible. How he was able to get through with this plan after planning it for like 1,000 years or so. So the thing with Kenjaku is, even though he is this smart, he is this incredible, he didn't account for the back of the prison room. Maki and the others still have the back of the prison room. All of this thought planning that Kenjaku went through, and they can still use the back of the prison room to release Gojo. If you don't remember, it was around in the chapter 140s, 150s, where they actually went to talk to Tengen. You know, the students went to go talk to Tengen, and Tengen gave them the back of the prison room. He said, if you use this, you can release Gojo. So they still have the back of the prison room. They can still release Gojo with this. I know a lot of people thought that because the angel, you know, it seems like she's out of commission, that they wouldn't be able to get Gojo out the box, but they still do have the back of the prison room. So there still is a way to have Gojo come out of the box. And that is why I'm telling you guys, don't worry, because everything sort of seems like it's going towards this. Everything seems like it's going towards Gojo getting out of the box with the back of the prison room. They even referenced it in one of the recent chapters, making sure that they still had it so they can use it to get Gojo out of the box. And once Kenjaku realizes that his plans will be foiled, I honestly think he'll run. I know some people, and I have seen this, you know, believe it or not, some people actually think that Kenjaku will try to fight Gojo. That I don't get. I think Kenjaku has made it pretty clear the entire series that he can't fight Gojo. You know, I don't even think Kenjaku has anything to, you know, hit Gojo. And in a domain clash, I do think that Unlimited Void will just destroy Kenjaku's domain. Yeah, I know that Kenjaku has a no shell of a barrier, you know, on his domain, which is supposed to be truly divine or whatever. You know, Tengen did say that Kenjaku is one of the few people who can match him in barrier techniques. But when Tengen said few people, you know, Gojo could also be included in those few people. You know, Tengen made sure that he said few people. He didn't say Kenjaku was the only person. He said Kenjaku was one of the few. So I do think that, you know, Gojo with his domain is up there as well in terms of domain power. And it'd actually be bad for Kenjaku if when they have a domain clash, it ties, because at that point it comes down to curse techniques versus curse techniques. And we know who has the better curse technique between Gojo and Kenjaku. Kenjaku would just have no way of hitting Gojo. So I do think that Kenjaku will run. I don't think that Kenjaku will fight Gojo as soon as he realizes that his plans will be foiled. Or I think that Kenjaku might try to sick Sukuna on Gojo. And I honestly have this sort of prediction that the moment that Sukuna realizes that Kenjaku has failed in his plans, Sukuna might just kill Kenjaku himself. You know, that's sort of an out there prediction, you know, that I haven't seen, but I want to know what you guys think. I actually do think that once Sukuna realizes, like, hey, Kenjaku, yeah, your plan, it was bad. You failed, and now Gojo is out of the box, so I'm just going to kill you for wasting my time. Sort of something like that. And this just further reinforces how much of him Gojo is. Because this is the thing, Gojo has the limitless technique, and he has the 6 eyes, so he can't be hit as long as he has the infinity around him. You either need a curse technique that can turn off curse techniques, you know, like the angels, so you can hit Gojo, or you need a tool that can hit Gojo, like the inverted spear of heaven, or Miguel's rope in volume 0. But the inverted spear of heaven no longer exists, and Miguel's rope has been destroyed. So the only way you can hit Gojo now is with a domain. And like I said earlier, I personally think Gojo's domain is one of the best, if not the best, in the series. So with that being said, it's pretty much up as soon as Gojo comes out of the box. And I will say this, it is hard to tell who would win the fight. It's not obvious. You know, obviously when Gege was writing the story, he made sure to not make it obvious who would win between Gojo and Sukuna, especially this new Sukuna that is inside Megami's body. So, you know, there's no way for us to really know who would win the fight, but Gege always delivers. Gege always gives us the fight we want. You have to remember how hype Kashimo versus Akari was. It was back and forth. I think that was the one time that everybody in the JJK fandom was banding together every week to see when the chapters would drop so we could see who was getting the upper leg between Kashimo and Hikari. I feel like this fight with Gojo and Sukuna will be the exact same way. And whether Gojo actually ends up killing Sukuna or not, I know that the fight will be epic. And I know that Gojo will at least weaken Sukuna enough to where the others can finish him off. But if I had to place my bets on a winner of that fight, right now, I'm saying Gojo. I know that it's ambiguous. I know that Sukuna could also win the fight, especially with, you know, how divine Sukuna's domain is. We also have to keep in mind how divine Gojo's domain is with his unlimited void. It was just sort of ambiguous. You know, there's a big gray area in terms of telling who's winning. I know some people think that they figured it out. They think that some things lead to one character winning over the other. But Gege has purposely kept this part of the storyline vague. Gege has purposely made it to where we actually won't be able to tell who will win the fight until it happens. And I also have seen some people say that there was a crack in one of Sukuna's fingers in the recent chapters, which that is true. There was a small crack in one of his fingers. And some of these people think that Sukuna's body might actually be breaking. And when I say Sukuna's body, you know, I really mean Megami's body. So people think that the body of Megami's might actually be breaking. And that is one thing I know that none of us want to see as JJK fans. None of us want to see Gojo fight Sukuna as one of them is weakened. You know, we don't want this crack in Sukuna's finger mean that by the time Gojo comes around, it'll be more than a crack. You know, he would actually be hindered while fighting Gojo. And I know that none of us want either Gojo or Sukuna to be weakened when this fight rolls around. We want this fight to be as lit as Gojo versus Toji was. We want this fight to be where they're both at 100%, so we can actually see who's truly the strongest between those two. You know, it has been hyped up since the beginning of the series. Gojo is the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer, and Sukuna is the king of curses. Everybody has been afraid of Sukuna since the dawn of time, and in recent years, everybody has been afraid of Gojo. And remember how I was talking about mental state earlier, about how Gojo went crazy back in hidden inventory? I think that the same thing will happen here, because think about the people who have died or been severely injured while Gojo has been sealed. He will find out that Nanami has died. He will find out that Nobara, she's in critical care right now. We don't actually know whether she is dead or not, but Nobara has been severely injured. You will see that Megami is in a bad spot because, well, Sukuna is in his body. And he will now find out that Yuki has passed as well. In Inumaki, I don't know if you guys remember what happened in Inumaki, but Inumaki lost all of his limbs. And Gojo will find out that Principal Yaga has passed. I'm pretty sure that there are a few more deaths I forgot to cover, but it just goes to show that Gojo will go completely insane as soon as he comes out of this box and realizes how badly things have gotten. If you truly think that Gojo will remain calm and, you know, just, oh well, all the people I love have died, then you're wrong. Gojo will go crazy. And that moment when Gojo is looking like when he fought against Toji, when Gojo has his head back and his face to the sky screaming, that is the Gojo that I think has the best chance to beat Sukuna. So I do just want to say one more time, everybody who loves Jujutsu Kaisen, everybody who thought it was over, everybody who thinks that Sukuna and Kenjaku have won, have hope, because Gojo is coming. I want to thank you all for watching this video and making it to the end. And if you enjoy JJK content, then please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I do post videos every other day on different topics that you guys give me, and a few topics I come up with on my own. Thank you for watching. See you next time.